You can't tell me that document that has been declassified was never classified. Only a bureaucracy like the CIA would create this, seemingly on purpose, conundrum. What did they hire you to put this out and fancy up what they've done? I'm not sure where you're going with that. If it wasn't classified, it wouldn't need to be declassified. That's not true. It is declassified because it was once classified. This is a discussion concerning the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas, who made a document in the 1960s. It was around 54 pages or 57 pages, depending on the revision. And in it, because it was a pamphlet that he had formatted not for making it the smallest possible, but to make it easily readable and, more importantly, to make it look like a book, even though it's a pamphlet, it includes blank pages. And when people get a hold of pamphlets in the 1960s, zines, whatever, by the way, there's a lot of people in San Francisco that collect those, and you could probably find them, including this. You can check that when people make a pamphlet for money or stylistic reasons, it'll have blank pages or no. And those blank pages are very tempting for a person to write things in as notes. In fact, that's actually very common, especially with zines and pamphlets, this is a pamphlet. It was produced in 1963 originally, through 1971, and other years. Chan Thomas also put out something in 1972 called Body Number 2, The Incredible World of ESP. It's a 201-page work. And then there's the 232-page compendium, it seems, from 1993 called The Adam and Eve Story, The History of Cataclysms, which may just include all of them put together, but that's a different work. We're talking about the original work that was only a 54-page document because it included in its index the words conclusion, the section of it, in page number 53 or something, or 52. So it proves that the thing was very short originally. But what about its classification? Well, this is actually how it's classified. In the CIA at the time, and currently you can look up this information if you want to, this thing was posted openly as a PDF file you could download saying declassified, and it was under miscellaneous general CIA records release classification. Its actual CIA classified status, K. Here are the classification statuses. Secret is S, confidential is C, U is unclassified, meaning it was never classified, or it's an unclassified file, or it's a file that's from a source that was at one time possibly classified or potentially classified. And then there's K. K has no known or marked security status, meaning it was so non-security based, it was so blasé that it never received even a designation that it should be checked to see if it should be classified. And Chan Thomas's work in this PDF file, along with other works in it, were never designated to have any classification. I'm going to repeat myself. K designation means it was never classified or even thought to do so. This PDF file, 2 megabytes, is an image set from a bunch of things that were photocopied a long time ago. You can even find out what year and day. And it ended up being a 57-page file with blank pages left out in some cases, others no. And it included a receipt for the processing of this activity. It also included a list of the contents of someone's car trunk and a Time magazine article. The Time magazine article was something published openly that you could pay for. You could also go to a library and read. And it was never classified. And Chan Thomas's Adam and Eve story, that was 50 some odd pages long, 54 pages, is the standard length from 1963 when it was originally done, the original, was something you could buy, something you could find in a library and still can. I left a link where you can go find a copy, maybe, if it hasn't been burned yet by some people selling shit on eBay, but let's move on. And it was never classified under any conditions. Period, full stop. And the file you're referring to prove it was classified, because it was declassified, says explicitly it was never classified. It's part of a declassified file dump because as you release things to the public from an old file set where you don't know why it's there, you have to check to see if it should have been classified. You have to check to see if it should be considered that way. And the common term for it being released after being checked or looked at to see if it should be classified is that it is declassified. That's the way they do it. It's their bureaucracy. Now, on intake, if it was something that was unknown at the time, it would check and say it was unclassified if it was tested or checked. But if someone leafs through it and sees no reason to classify it because it's some zine, a list of stuff in someone's trunk, junk in the trunk, and an article clipped from a Time magazine article, it would just get the K designation as never being even thought about the classification status. And again, because the Times article, the Time magazine article was in there, does that make the Time magazine article classified? No. Well, it's because you could buy it anywhere and you can see it in a library. Yes, and the same thing with Chan Thomas's original 54-page document, or 53-page when it's revision 3, like this one. It had some blank pages someone wrote on. Maybe they were redacted. Or maybe it was just found in the pile, and since it's paper and they could photo image it, they just did that. They can't do it with the wrench they found. It was probably part of an evidence pile from Haight-Ashbury where they found somebody with pot. But in and of itself, none of it was classified, and it probably got separated from whatever pile it came from. It probably has an interesting story to it. But the least interesting thing in here is the Time magazine article and the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. Chan Thomas's Adam and Eve story was never classified because the quote-quote declassification PDF file states that it had designation security level or whatever, K, meaning it was never marked for security status. It was never even thought about for classifying it. This is the only time you can find a document in the declassified pile that says it was never classified. That's what it really means. Ignoring that fact because you're trying to sell something on eBay and lie to your viewers on YouTube is shit. People trying to resell this document that Chan Thomas isn't going to make any money off of, plagiarizing him and lying about him years after he died in 1998 or whatever. Oh, actually, yeah, 1998. He was born in 1920. His name is Chauncey P. Thomas, Chan. Lying about his work, taking credit for it, exploiting it, is a bastard's behavior. And some of you getting mad at me pointing out that it was never, ever classified is the reason you're getting this video today. Do not post on my channel unless you can prove what you are saying, or at least be civil. Don't assume the worst in others or try to get others to believe that. Don't just pick fights like a troll. You can't tell me that document has been declassified was never classified, but the documentation itself says it was never classified because its only designation is K. The K designation indicates that it was never even considered whether or not it should be classified. It was never classified. Even unclassified indicates at one time it was at least evaluated that way. Odds are this was a pile of data that was found in someone's car. It had notes written on it, maybe. Maybe that's why it's redacted, partially because it had the person's personal identifiable data in it. It could have been a completely innocent person, not being persecuted or anything. Could have been a victim of a crime. We don't know. And we're not supposed to know because it's from the 1960s and everybody's either dead or moved on or retired and doesn't want to be bothered with it. And again, just because this pamphlet is in there doesn't make it any more classified than the Time magazine article that was also in it. That was never classified either. Neither was a hammer classified or some electrical tape or whatever else was in the toolkit. It's probably a file of information found with somebody. Might have been a victim of a crime, might have been a perpetrator. We'll never know. You could even make an inquiry and ask them if they know what this came from. Was it a court case or something? But the K designation, it was classified as K, meaning it was never classified, isn't something you're willing to take. To save space, the CIA started digitizing paper evidence files from old investigations. In one of the files was some handwritten notes. Part of them were written on a pamphlet, a list of contents of a car emergency kit, and a shipping label. A personal copy of this pamphlet and this data file was declassified, but truthers took that to mean that this book was classified and or forbidden when it never was. And this is the only reason anybody's willing to spend $1,000 on you photocopying something from the CIA server. people have asked me, can I get an undoctored copy of it? And I also, if you're not aware of it, made a cleaned up version of it where I removed all the crap, the CIA stampings I had on it and the guy's notes, and made it look like the original pamphlet in an imager that you can go look at. And right now on camera, I'm going to go ahead and just, let's see if I can open it. But you can find his grave. You can find out his history. There's a bunch of data about the guy. Lying about the guy isn't acceptable. Chan Thomas did nothing to deserve any of this crap that's being said about him. He put out a work he believed in. It included a diagram that shows a misrepresentation about how the Earth's core works. Okay, fine. It says a bunch of things I don't agree with. Okay, whatever. That's not relevant. What's relevant is you book burners out there that have been showing up at the libraries that I indicated, trying to burn the goddamn thing so you can jack up the rate for selling your copy of it on eBay? You filthy fuckers come to my channel and talk about this shit. Yeah, that actually happened. One library had to put it in a protected status. It cannot be checked out. You can only look at it in the rare books rare books area. No, I'm not kidding. This is something you fuckers are doing out there. Truthers are burning books. Should I hold up your sign, or should I just show you your swastika? Book-burning truthers don't like it when the truth is presented to them. It was literally designated by the CIA as CIA classification level, previous classification level K, meaning it never had a classification. What part of this doesn't get into your pea brains? And next, why are some of you so financially motivated to keep this a forbidden fruit thing that you're willing to go to a library with a lighter or a match? And I'm not supposed to call you Nazis. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Go fuck yourself.